In this video, I'll show you what to expect as these plants grow from the time you plant them to the time you harvest. Then I'll show you some of the ones that we've harvested, both at the smaller size and the very large size. Then I'll cut into one of the really big ones, and I'll do a taste test of one of the smaller ones. I'll also let you know what I thought of them cooked. If you just want to know what to expect when growing Chinese python snake beans, I think this video should give you a good idea. It seemed like our python snake beans took forever to get started, and for a while I was even worried that they might not make it at all. But by late June they finally got going pretty well, even though they looked just a little bit puny compared to some other vining crops. Once they got growing, one of the first things that I learned about python snake beans is that they take up a lot of room. We planted these in a tomato cage, and they quickly went to the top of the cage and started to sprawl in all directions and invaded 3 cages next to them and ended up way over by the corn. One thing I should mention is that python snake beans aren't a bean at all. They're an edible gourd. Even though they got a really slow start, once they got growing, they more than made up for it. One interesting thing about them is that they have a very unique bloom, and it's one of the most unique flowers I've ever seen. Here's a look at one that's just starting to grow. Once you see one like that, keep an eye on it because it will grow very fast. This is a look at one that's about the size I like to eat them fresh. Baker Creek recommends that you harvest them when they're about 12 to 30 inches, and this one's probably at the top end of that size. Here's a look at some python snake beans we harvested one morning, along with some long beans that were growing right next to them. These are pretty typical for the ones we picked. In Africa, they scrape out the insides of the fully mature ones to use it like tomato paste. I never did try that, so I can't say whether it's good or it's bad. If you miss harvesting for just a few days, they will get away from you size-wise in a hurry. I thought it might be interesting to cut into some of these just to look on the inside, because I've seen lots of pictures of these online, but I've never seen one that was cut open, so let's just cut into this and see what we find. This one is one of the big ones that I let go way too long. It's 53 inches long if you don't count the 4 or 5 inches on the end that's curled. I'm just going to cut into it. We'll take a look. That's what it looks like. And they recommend harvesting these things between 12 and 30 inches. And of course, this is way past that. I'm going to cut down closer to the stem end just to see what it looks like down there. They say that the fully mature ones can be scraped out and used like tomato paste. We haven't tried that. We only ate one of the really small ones fresh. And I think we're going to try cooking one of the ones in that 12 to 30 inch range so we can get an idea of what the cooked ones taste like. The smaller ones you can eat. Well, we ate it just raw with no salt or anything. No dip, and it had a kind of a pleasant texture and was very mild. That's what the stem end looks like. Let me get you another look inside there. See if I can cut down the middle. I'm not sure how it would work if you tried to cook. It's pretty pithy inside, not much you could use except on the outside, and I'm not sure how that waxy skin would work. So I'm going to get you another one and we'll cut into it and see what it looks like. Okay, I've got 3 more. This one here is about on the maximum end of that 30-inch range, that 12 to 30-inch range, and these 2 are probably on the lower end, but it gives you an idea of what they can look like on the vine. There they can kind of get all squirreled up like that, all curl, and if you straighten this one out it might even be over a foot, probably. I'm guessing 15 inches if it was straight. This is probably closer to a foot, but this is about the size we ate the other day, so I'm just going to cut into that. Doesn't look too much different than the large ones, except just smaller. I'm going to go ahead and take a bite of that. Got a pleasant texture and a mild taste. You could eat that fresh, kind of like a summer squash, or you could put that in a salad even, I think would be good. We haven't tried cooking any yet. Now let's cut into this one here and we'll get an idea of what that looks like. Same deal. Pretty much the same, looking the same. I'll cut down closer to the stem, about the same way. I think I might try to cook some of this one and just to see how it works out. I haven't tried to cook any yet, so might give that a try, and I'll update this video at the end, or maybe add it to it if I feel up to it. I did cook some of that one, and this is a look at it on the stove. I just boiled it for a little while using some beef broth for a little bit of flavor and a little bit of saltiness, and it still was pretty flavorless in my opinion. I intended to try some in a stir fry, but I never got around to that. If you've ever tried cooking any python snake beans, let us know how it worked out for you. Here's another look at those larger ones that I picked. If I had one word of advice to give people on growing python snake beans, it would be make sure you have plenty of room. They will sprawl in all directions if you let them. Well, let us know if you've ever grown python snake beans, and if you're just now finding this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We'll see you next time.